This is Alex Pretti. He was 37 years old. By profession, he was an intensive care unit nurse in Minneapolis, a role that demands not just medical expertise, but profound compassion and resilience. He spent his nights at the Minneapolis VA healthcare system, a place where he dedicated his skills to caring for the nation's veterans. Working in the ICU is a high-stakes environment, a constant balance of life and death, where every second counts. It requires a unique kind of person, someone who can remain calm and focused amidst chaos, providing comfort and critical care to patients and their families during their most vulnerable moments. But Alex's commitment to service didn't end when his shift did. He spent his days off showing up for his community in countless ways, volunteering at local shelters, participating in neighborhood cleanups, and being a constant, reliable presence for those in need. He believed in the power of collective action and the simple, profound act of being there for your neighbors. On the night of January 24, 2026, while participating in a protest, Alex Pretti was shot and killed by federal agents. His death ignited a firestorm of questions, grief, and outrage. To understand what happened, we have to separate fact from fiction, official narratives from eyewitness accounts, and piece together the timeline of a tragedy. Here's what I know. Based on public records, interviews, and newly emerged evidence, Alex Pretti was born and raised in a small town in Illinois, a place that instilled in him a strong sense of community and a down-to-earth demeanor. Seeking to build a career in healthcare, he moved to Minnesota. He enrolled in the nursing program at the University of Minnesota, a rigorous and highly respected institution. He graduated with his Bachelor of Science in Nursing in 2011, ready to embark on a career he was deeply passionate about. His colleagues at the VA remember him as more than just a skilled nurse. They say he was exceptionally kind, always the first to offer help or a word of encouragement during a grueling 12-hour shift. He was funny, known for a dry wit that could diffuse tension and bring a much-needed moment of levity to the high-stress environment of the ICU. And above all, he was steady under pressure. When a patient crashed, when alarms blared, Alex was the person you wanted in the room, focused, methodical, and unflappable. These were the qualities that defined him, both in and out of the hospital. Like many Americans, Alex was a gun owner. He had a legal concealed carry permit, issued by the state of Minnesota after he passed all the required background checks and training courses. His public record was clean. Aside from a handful of traffic tickets over the years, he had no criminal history, no arrests, no record of violence, nothing that would suggest the person described by federal officials in the aftermath of his death. Which brings us to that night in Minneapolis. In the hours and days after the shooting, the official federal account painted a specific picture. But new video, first reported by TMZ and later obtained by other outlets, appears to directly contradict that initial narrative. The allegation from federal officials was severe. They framed him as a domestic terrorist, claiming he was part of a coordinated plot to ambush and massacre law enforcement officers. They alleged he was armed and actively moving to attack them when they opened fire. But the footage tells a different story. For several minutes before the fatal encounter, the video shows Alex Pretti acting as a volunteer traffic marshal. He's wearing a high-visibility vest and using a small, illuminated baton, not to menace, but to direct pedestrian traffic and ensure people stayed safely on the sidewalks, away from the police line. He is seen helping people, de-escalating minor disputes between protesters, and offering water to those affected by the cold. His actions appear to be those of a peacekeeper, not an agitator. The situation escalates abruptly. The video shows a federal officer shoving a woman who falls hard onto the frozen pavement. She cries out in pain. Without hesitation, Pretti moves toward her. His training as a nurse, his instinct to help, seems to kick in. He isn't running or charging, he's moving to render aid. As he reaches the woman, another officer deploys pepper spray directly at them. Both are hit in the face, momentarily blinded and disoriented. In the ensuing chaos, several officers converge on Pretti. He's pulled away from the woman and dragged to the ground. The video is shaky, but it captures a violent struggle. This is the most critical and contested moment. According to a frame-by-frame analysis of the video, it appears an officer may have removed Alex's holstered firearm from his waistband during the struggle, before the fatal shots were fired. Eyewitnesses support this, claiming they saw the gun being taken from him while he was pinned down. That detail is central to the case, and is still under active investigation. Seconds later, shots are fired. To understand the anger that followed, you have to know that this wasn't an isolated incident. It was the culmination of a month of fear and tension in Minneapolis. In fact, it was the third federal shooting of a civilian in Minneapolis in just 17 days. all connected to a controversial federal operation targeting protest movements in the city. On January 7th, Renee Good, a 26-year-old student and activist, was shot and killed during a raid on her apartment by an ICE officer assigned to the same federal task force. Officials claimed she was armed. Her family insists she was not. Then, on January 14th, Julio Cesar Sosa Celia, a bystander filming a protest, was shot in the leg by a U.S. Marshal. The Marshal Service stated he was advancing on their line, a claim he denies, stating he was on a public sidewalk. And then, Alex Pretti on January 24th. 3 shootings, 3 civilians, 1 federal task force, all in less than 3 weeks. For many in the city, it felt like an occupation. The news of Pretti's death, especially given the context of the preceding weeks, caused protests to erupt across the city. The response was immediate and forceful. Federal and local police deployed tear gas, blanketing entire city blocks in a chemical haze. They used flashbangs, or stun grenades, which disorient with a blinding flash and deafening explosion. The sounds of sirens and detonations echoed through downtown. Minneapolis became a city on edge, caught between grief for a fallen community member and fear of an escalating conflict with federal forces. The political fallout was swift. Minnesota's governor held an emergency press conference calling the shooting sickening and the pattern of federal actions an unacceptable intrusion. He publicly urged the administration to end the operation immediately and withdraw the task force from his state. Pretti's family, devastated by their loss, has been forced to fight a battle on 2 fronts, mourning their son while also defending his name. They reject the terrorist label outright, calling it a slanderous attempt to justify an unlawful killing. Through their attorney, they have stated unequivocally that he was not holding a gun when he was attacked. They maintain he was trying to help someone when he was assaulted by officers, disarmed, and then shot. They insist he was there for the same reason he did everything in his life, because he cared about people and felt a deep responsibility to stand up against what he saw as injustice happening in his adopted city of Minneapolis. His union, the American Federation of Government Employees, which represents thousands of VA workers, issued a powerful statement. They mourned the loss of their union brother and called for a fully independent investigation, not one conducted by the same federal agencies involved. They are demanding full accountability for those responsible. In a situation like this, where narratives are weapons and confusion serves the powerful, I'll say this: facts matter, and video matters. The initial story told by officials is now being challenged by digital evidence captured on a cell phone. A nurse who swore an oath to care for others, who spent his life healing the sick and injured, was killed in the street while, by all visual accounts, attempting to do just that. The irony is as profound as the tragedy itself. The story of how it happened is being challenged in real time. Every new eyewitness, every enhanced frame of video adds another layer to a complex and disturbing picture. This is no longer just about one night. It's about the credibility of our institutions. What we need now is not more statements, but radical transparency. We need the full independent truth, every frame of body camera footage, every unredacted report, every officer's name on the record. For Alex Pretti, a man who lived a life of service, and for a city and a country that has been through far too much and deserves nothing less than the complete truth.